I'm ready for things to be different now. This is a downer, isn't it? This is like my 4th time trying to make this video. Okay. 2022 was a really difficult year for me for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to get into them too much here because I don't want this video to be a downer. This is not supposed to be some like pity party. This is supposed to be talking about all of the exciting stuff that is happening in the future, but I do think that it's worth talking about where I'm at now and, you know, the journey that I've been on to get to where I'm currently at. I'm going to be honest, the journey that led here was not great. It was not an awesome time. In 2022, I made lots of videos. I was incredibly productive, I was incredibly efficient, and you might think that this efficiency was great and like means that I was super inspired and feeling very creative and had a lot of energy, and that is just not true. I made a lot of the things that I made this year because I had agreed to make them and because I was obligated to make them. I had signed things. And a lot of my videos, I talked about burnout and I talked about wanting to experiment and try new things, and that's not necessarily entirely honest. So I had all of these obligations and these things that I had agreed to, and I knew that I had to do them, but I was struggling to make anything that I felt was worthwhile. And so I was grasping at straws. I was really at the point where I was willing to try just about anything. I tried doing some unscripted stuff. I tried doing like weirder stuff, and I just didn't like any of it. It was a really scary few months where I really did feel like I was being held hostage by content. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, Zoe, we would have watched anything that you made. You could have made little nothing videos. They didn't have to be these huge video essays. And while I appreciate that, the algorithm needs consistency. It needs to know what kinds of videos you make so that it can know how to recommend them. And so if you make different kinds of videos or if you switch up your style a lot, the algorithm isn't going to know what to do with that, and so that's going to hurt how your channel performs. And B, that's not what I made the channel for. I made this channel to make video essays, and spending months making nothing videos that are not video essays wouldn't be what I wanted, and it would make me unhappy. And so if I was going to be unhappy either way, I would rather be unhappy while making videos that are closer to the original intention of why I made the channel. And so those few months from August to about the middle of November were some of the worst times that I have had in terms of my mental health in a really, really long time. This is a downer, isn't it? Oh no. And that was really just the worst of it. I mean, the entire year had been incredibly challenging for my physical health as well. Like, the stress of it all had given me blood pressure issues, and the blood pressure issues meant that I had to change some of my medication, and so I was like medication hopping throughout the spring and summer, and it was just this whole nightmare. But in the fall, when the burnout was the worst, it actually caused some of the worst anxiety that I have ever had in my entire life. And I'm someone who has had anxiety for my whole life, and so that's saying something. It had gotten to the point where I was feeling all of these really like physical symptoms. Like, I would lie awake at night just stressing about this job and about what I was being required to do and whether what I was doing was good enough and whether I would be able to make it out of this and get to the other side. And my body would suddenly jerk me awake with these like racing, anxious thoughts. I mean, it was like that for a couple months. And so that was so bad that I actually started a new medication specific for anxiety, and it's been great. But I also decided that I needed to make some lifestyle changes. I needed to just rethink how I was doing videos. I just needed to make it through this year. A lot of my obligations and commitments expire at the end of the year, so I just needed to make it to the end of 2022, and then I could finally breathe again. And so I ended up pushing myself way too hard to make videos that were fine, and I enjoyed making them, and I did put a lot of energy and care into them. And if I could go back, I would do it all the same way. I don't have any regrets, but That doesn't mean that it wasn't a challenge, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't grueling. It was. I was reaching, especially by the end of the year, the end of my rope. I had to accept that I couldn't make them great. I would just make them as good as they needed to be, schedule them, get them out, and then not think about them ever again. And so I got that done. I got those videos scheduled and out, and then I took a 4-week break and I did nothing. I hung out with my dog. I played the new Pokemon game, and it's great, by the way. I really, really enjoy it. You know, performance issues aside, it's a really genuinely great game. And I got food poisoning actually around Thanksgiving, ended up being bedridden for a couple days, and so I reread House of Leaves. Pro tip, do not read House of Leaves when you are sick and your brain is already kind of loopy. Because that was a rough couple of days. I actually started watching video essays again, which I didn't do throughout this whole year. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, like, why have I suddenly stopped wanting to watch video essays? And I think it's because I knew that I couldn't make things that were so ambitious because I had to make a video every 2 weeks, and you can't make giant, hugely ambitious videos in 2 weeks. And so it would make me frustrated and sad and disappointed every time I would watch a video because it just reminded me of what I wasn't able to do. But I've started watching video essays again, and it's been wonderful. I was able to not think about work and not constantly worry about numbers and the algorithm and comments, and these 4 weeks have been the best. So, what have I actually learned during this entire grueling process of making 2 videos a month for the entire year? I don't know why I said it like that. I could do another take, but I'm not going to. Well, I learned a lot. Awful as it was in a lot of ways, it wasn't entirely bad. I learned a lot about how to create things more efficiently. I learned how to push myself, both in healthy and unhealthy ways. I learned a lot about scheduling and organization and who I am as a creator and the kind of stuff that I want to make. And I definitely learned that I want to prioritize quality over quantity. I want depth in my videos. I want them to be important and look at big stuff. I want to really just dive into things and make videos that matter. I want all the stuff that you can't do when you're putting out 2 videos every single month with no time to breathe or take breaks. That's what I want. And this year I don't know that I was able to do that, at least as much as I would want to, and it is kind of disappointing to look back on that. I'm ready for things to be different now. So in 2023, that's the goal. The goal is to make fewer but bigger videos. The goal is to be more ambitious, be more creative, especially with how I make the videos. I don't want every single video to just be me sitting here in front of this bookshelf, as wonderful as the bookshelf is. I want to try some new things that I didn't have time to try this past year, and it's just so frustrating. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm not sad and upset about what could have been this year anymore. Now I'm just angry. I am just angry that I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do this year because past Zoe agreed to put future Zoe through hell. And past Zoe makes lots of mistakes. But the good thing is that current Zoe and future Zoe can learn from the mistakes that past Zoe made. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best to learn from what I went through this year and use that to make my content even better in 2023. I also want to do more to help smaller creators. Earlier this year, I appeared on the F the Algorithm stream. F the Algorithm is a group of fellow creators and friends of the channel who come together to celebrate smaller creators, and they watch little excerpts of their videos on a stream about once a month, and they talk about these smaller creators and try and give them a little bit of a boost in the algorithm, and they are super wonderful. I will have their channel linked down below. You should definitely go subscribe to them. They are just doing some absolutely wonderful stuff, and I want to do kind of my own version of this. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet, but I do want to do more in the way of highlighting smaller creators and helping to uplift other people's voices, because what is the point of this kind of platform if I'm not using it to help other people? So I want to try and help other people. I also want to do a lot more fiction and poetry writing, because I just didn't have time to write this year. This is one of those things that is irritating when I look back on it, is how much this year, the way that it affected my ability to do anything else outside of just make videos as quickly as possible. The anger. I don't know if you can tell, the anger is building. But one of the difficult things about doing content, I hate saying doing content. The thing about making videos the way that I am planning to make videos next year, it comes with its own set of challenges. Yes, I won't be held to this rigorous schedule, and yes, I will have a lot more freedom, but making fewer videos is not algorithm friendly, and it is not sponsor friendly. The algorithm is the way that it is. You know, you don't make a ton of ad revenue when you aren't putting out videos all the time. And the way that sponsorships work, usually the sponsor tells you what their ideal schedule is, and it's usually like a month or two in advance at least. They tell you, okay, like I want 2 videos in November, or I want 1 video in October and 1 video in January, or something like that. And so you have to have some kind of schedule. You have to have some kind of idea of when a video is going to be done or how long a video is going to take. And I don't know that that is something that I'm going to be able to do, at least not consistently, this coming year, because my goal is to give videos as much time as they need. And if I end up discovering like an entire wild rabbit hole during my research, like I want to go into it as much as I can. I'm not going to have any idea of how long a video is going to take to make, but with sponsors, that makes that a lot more challenging. Now, I do have one sponsor spot in January that, you know, I agreed to like months ago, and so there is going to be a video in January, but going forward, videos will be out when they are out. I'm going to try for once a month, but we will see. It'll probably be closer to every other month. But the goal is that the videos will be great, and they will be big, and they will be ambitious, and they will be creative, and they will have all of my heart and soul poured into them. It is frustrating knowing that things are going to be a lot more difficult as far as ad revenue and sponsorships and stuff goes. So what that means is that in 2023, I'm going to be relying a lot more on Patreon and channel memberships. If you do want to support me in shifting my focus to this kind of bigger, more ambitious content, then please consider joining either over on Patreon or here on YouTube with the channel memberships. People ask a lot of the time which one is better. It really doesn't matter. I want you to choose whichever is best for you. Follow your heart and your dreams. On Patreon, I have 3 tiers. Here on YouTube, I have 2. The first 2 tiers of each are the same, where the bottom tier gets their name in the credits. The middle tier gets early access to videos and like polls and like supporter-only content. And then the top tier, which is only over on Patreon, they're the ones who get the verbal shoutouts at the end. I don't have that on YouTube. That is just how I did that, but I can add that upper tier here on YouTube if that is something that people want me to do. Just let me know, and I can. I also wanted to mention real quick that I have also started a Discord server for the channel and stuff, and I will have a link to that down below if you want to join, because I have gotten rid of my Twitter, and so this is sort of the best way to keep up with me and my content and also have sort of a community with each other. So if that sounds interesting to you, there is an invite link in the description. But also, if you are a patron or member, you also get access, and you get access also to a special like supporter only section of that. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, then go ahead and join that. So that is really my plan for next year, but I also have a ton of other like projects and side things that I am doing. I have the main channel with the videos. I think that I might start posting more on my second channel, Zoe C. I think that might be where I put some of my like little ideas. Like I know that Big Joel just recently made a second channel where he does some like short, like 4 or 5 minute videos. They're kind of off the cuff. And I'm thinking about maybe doing that with my second channel, like a similar kind of thing. I also have a lot of other stuff that I do on the side. I am in not 1, but 2 actual play games. I am in a Dungeons & Dragons stream over on Jcorn's YouTube page. I will have it linked down below. I play a gnome artificer named Tim Tam, and she has a metal dog companion named Sparks McBarks. They are wonderful. Tim Tam is the sweetest, and I love her so much. That game, like I said, is on Jcorn's YouTube channel. It also is simul-streamed on Twitch. I will have links to that as well. We stream that on the last Friday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so that is actually coming up in about 2 weeks. So come check it out and join the chat if you are interested in that. I am also in a Blades in the Dark actual play stream that is on twitch.tv/ITU crew, and that is streamed every other Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. For those of you unfamiliar with that game or that setting, it's sort of set in like spooky Victorian England, dark kind of gothic horror vibes. And so, of course, I play a cowboy, and he is named Mr. Lurk, and he is just wonderful. He is a total wife guy, and we love him. I'm also going to be starting a podcast with 2 other YouTubers who you may have heard of that go by the names Jose and Lola Sebastian. And the 3 of us are starting a podcast that is still too early to say much about, but more info will be coming soon. We've recorded a couple episodes and it is genuinely just so wonderful. These are absolutely great creators. If you do not follow them already, go subscribe to them. Their channels are linked down below as well. Wonderful, wonderful people. Just awesome. I am not gonna just rave about my friends this whole time. I hope that this video wasn't too long. I have been recording for like 45 minutes. I wanted this to be like a short little, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minute thing. I hope this video wasn't too depressing. It really was not meant to be like a pity party. I did want to just be honest with all of you about this year, and you know, I'm happy with everything that I made this year, and I would do it all exactly the same way again, but I am ready to move forward and learn from this experience and adjust some things going forward and just make cool stuff, because that's the job, and that's, I think, why you're all here. Hopefully that's why you're here. Thank you guys so much for just being here, always being so supportive, being so patient with me over the past year. It's been about 2 years since this whole thing began, and I've learned so much, and I finally feel like this coming year is when I'm gonna have my feet firmly under me, and I actually know what I'm doing, and I've developed the skills to actually be able to pull off some of the more ambitious ideas that I've had. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope that you have a lovely holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate or do not celebrate, and I will see you with all of my energy and passion and creative muscles in 2023. So until then, stay safe, stay warm, and I will see y'all again soon, I hope. Bye, folks.